The market has shifted, and now you're wondering how to make buyer leads and working with buyer clients profitable again. Well, in this video, I'm going to give you some quick tips and tricks that I use so that working with buyers can be fun, profitable, and not a total waste of time. So let's dive right into the video. Welcome to the Empire of Real Estate YouTube channel. My name is Chris, and on this channel, we talk about real estate, entrepreneurship, and building your real estate empire. As my way of saying thank you, I want to offer you our free home buyer presentation template that we use to close millions of dollars worth of buyer sales every single year on our real estate team. If you want to get that free template, click down in the description below and you can get your free copy. It's fully editable in Canva and you can take it and use it at your next buyer consultation. I hope you enjoy it. So working with buyers, it can be a huge waste of time. How many times have you worked with buyers that take you from house to house to house and then ultimately call you and say, hey, I bought a house with somebody else, or hey, I decided I'm just gonna rent, or hey, I just bought myself a brand new car and I no longer qualify. These are the things that buyer's agents face on a monthly basis. And you can overcome a lot of these things, but they are real problems. And it makes working with buyers and being a buyer's agent super frustrating. And in fact, a lot of buyer's agents end up burning out and quitting the business altogether. So I've come up with a couple solutions. I built my entire real estate team based on buyer business, and we recently just had to shift over to seller business over the past 2 years because so many buyers were getting outbid, and it was just a really challenging market to have the majority of your business coming from buyers. But now that the market's shifting, we're going to be refocusing back on that buyer strategy that has led us to so much success in the past. So working with buyers is something that I'm very familiar with, and I want to offer you some quick tips so you can spend your time doing the things that are most important and making your business much more profitable if you're going to work with buyers. So first things first is you want to focus on buyer consultations. When a lead calls or you talk to a lead on the phone, the very first mistake you can make is taking that person to a house after house after house without actually sitting down with them and being their preferred agent. So when I first started, I remember taking calls on Zillow and buying all these expensive leads. And then I would get the call and they'd say, hey, I want to look at 123 Main Street. And I would say, okay, that's cool. What day and time works for you? And I would run out to the house, I would open the door, and guess what? A lot of the times that person would look at the house, they'd say, not really for me. I would go to set up a follow-up appointment, and then they would disappear forever. And they're just going to call the next agent in line. And that's just how they work because they don't want to commit to anybody. And the fact that you gave them what they wanted right off the bat, which was that showing, and you didn't even try to set up the appointment, means that they're just going to use you as a door opener and you're going to waste a ton of your time. And at the end of the day, we are real estate agents. We're not getting paid per hour. We get paid on results. So the more time you waste, the more time you're going to spend working and the less money you're going to make. So we want to make sure that we protect our time. The worst thing you can do is waste a ton of time in this business and not get compensated for it. So focus on doing the consultation. When you get that phone call, you want to focus on asking questions specific to what they're looking for, ask them questions when they want to move, and then ultimately ask them if they want to come in for a custom home buyer consultation where you can go through everything with them step by step, explain the entire process so they know what they're getting into, and then come up with a game plan and a timeline to get them into their next home. So once you position it that way, you want to set that appointment. Now, not every single lead is going to be willing to come into the office and sit down with you. But the more you ask, the more yeses you're going to get and the less time you're going to waste. Now, if somebody says no, you want to keep adding value. So what you can say is, okay, no problem. I know you're probably a little early in the search. Have you gotten pre-approved at least yet? So we can get you connected with a lender. We can get your credit score up. We can work with you. We can show you where some of the blind spots in your credit is. And that lender can kind of work with you to get your score up so that hopefully you can get the best loan terms when you do decide to buy. That's another way, connect them with a lender. Next, you want to add more value. So every couple days, you want to send them a batch of houses and say, hey, I was thinking of you. A couple new listings came across my desk and I think you would really love them. Is there anything here that you really like? And then you're going back and forth. And then by the second or third week, you might want to circle back around, make that phone call and say, hey, I know you couldn't make it in 2 weeks ago, but I would love to sit down with you and come up with a game plan to get you into your next home. Now you added all that value and they're much more likely to say yes. So focus on the consultation, focus on building the rapport to get them in the office so you can sit down with them and become their trusted local real estate expert. Now, once you get them into the office for the consultation, you want to make sure you're asking the right questions. These questions are questions like, when do you need to move? Do you have a timeline? What budget are you in? Have you been pre-approved yet? What are the must-haves that the house must have or you won't even consider it? Are there any flexible things where they're just bonuses? So if I find a house that has all the things that you absolutely need, but that bonus thing isn't there, is that something that you would consider? What towns and areas are you looking for? All these things are important. And then you want to ask, what is your motivation level? Do you absolutely have to move by a certain date? Or are you kind of open to it and you're just kind of looking around, and if it happens in a year or two, that's cool. And if it happens in 3 months, that's cool too. Like, where does this person stand and how motivated are they? Because that's going to determine on, how you work with this client and which direction you steer this transaction. Next, you want to get them pre-qualified before you ever show them a house. So many agents make this mistake and they think it's going to be okay. They think it's going to be all right to go show houses without a pre-approval letter. Sometimes it works out, but the majority of times it doesn't, because even if they find that house that they want, they're going to go and look at the house, fall in love with the house, and then they're going to try to get pre-approved. They might need to fix some things in their credit, and then the house might be gone. Actually, it probably will be gone. And then the person will become sad. They'll be kind of upset about the process, and it just starts everything off on the wrong foot. So you, as the trusted real estate expert, need to kind of tell them and show them the value of getting pre-approved with a lender, because if they're not pre-approved, they're just going to waste a ton of time. And in my opinion, I just wouldn't do it. Now, that's up to you, but I wouldn't go out and spend time with somebody that hasn't even taken the initiative or the time to get pre-approved, because your time is valuable. The biggest lesson I want to give you in this video is your time is valuable. Working with buyers can be a terrific thing. It can be an excellent lead source, and it can make you a lot of money. But if you don't value your time, there can be a lot of time traps in this lead source that can lead you to buyer burnout and huge frustration. Next, you want to set expectations. Setting expectations with a lead is one of the most important things. When I first started out my career, I remember I worked with a couple clients that actually bounced around between me and a couple other agents, and then they ultimately ended up working with me. But I didn't set expectations. I was so new. I just wanted the deal. And this client would call me at 12, 1, 2, 3 in the morning. And it was a lot. It was a lot. I don't want to take real estate phone calls at 3 in the morning. You probably don't either. So you want to define when you're going to be available to answer calls. If you don't answer the call, what's the expectation? When are you going to get back to them? Are you going to shoot them a quick text message? If it's past 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night, are you going to respond or are you not going to respond? What days of the week do you work? What days of the week are you going to show houses? When are you going to go look at houses together? What's the game plan? When are they free? When are you free? Do your schedules match? These are all discussions that you want to have and set clear expectations. You also want to set the expectation that if you're going to invest all this time into their process and helping them find a home, that you want to work with them exclusively. You don't want to work with somebody that's going to be shopping with 5, 6, 7 other agents. So if they buy a house with somebody else, you're not going to get paid. That's a huge waste of time. And just like they work at a job, imagine this. They go to their job. This is the story that I tell. They go to their job every single day of the week, right? They check in, they do the work, they do everything. And there's coworkers there. There's other people working for this company. And imagine there was a task, right? They all had this task and they had this task to do a certain thing, accomplish a certain goal. And they're all working, they're working hard, they're putting in their hours, You know, that one person's doing 40 hours a week, one person's doing 50 hours a week, one person's doing 30 hours a week. And then imagine at the end of that week, the employer looks at them and says, hey, I'm going to pick this person because they achieved the goal first. And then all those other people that went to work all week wasted their time and they're not going to get paid. That's exactly what you're doing as a real estate agent, and you need to be clear with your clients about this, because once they understand it from that lens and they know that you're a 1099 contractor, that you're self-employed, and that this is how you make your primary income, they're going to be a lot more open to committing to you exclusively as long as you're doing your job and taking care of their needs. So tell me, what is your biggest buyer agent tip? And what do you love about working with buyers? Drop it in the comment section below. I would love to hear your feedback. And if you like this kind of content for real estate entrepreneurs, definitely smash the like button and subscribe. We come out with real estate content on a weekly basis. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have an awesome night.